we've seen the BBC, and we've seen the Telegraph's expose of the BBC, and I'm just like, we all fucking knew it. Everyone knew this. When we called it over vaccines, we called it over trans bollocks, we called it, I mean, name an issue, and the BBC went directly against public opinion on this sort of stuff. And you just go, why does it take the mainstream media to go, oh, look, we're going to ban blokes from punching women in sports in the Olympics. Well done us. Welcome to another episode of Fox and Father, with me, the Fox, and him,
the Father.
Where Calvin tries to tutor me in the ways. Where Calvin tries to tutor me in the ways of righteousness. That noise is going to happen a lot, by the way, because my studio, the Fox and Father studio, is gone.
Wow! How do you feel about that?
I get it.
That's crazy. Wow.
Gone. It's been destroyed.
So what's going to be there in its place? Is it just, are you building something new?
Yeah, space. We lack space, and there was a lot of asbestos. So we're dealing with that now, and I'm dealing with a bad wrapper on an American cigar that I bought when I was in America. So life could be a lot better for me. How are you doing, brother?
I'm good. I'm very good. I had a couple of weeks with my father. We went driving around Michigan. We went to Traverse City, which is beautiful this time of year, where all the trees are like different shades of amber. I took him to a football game.
Leaf peeping? Did you go leaf peeping?
Huh?
Did you go leaf peeping?
No, I don't know.
That's what they call it. Oh God, she's back.
They call it colour tour here. I don't like the word.
Back.
It sounds weird.
She's back.
But yeah, we went up there. We got some cherry pie. But we went to the big house, which I believe is the biggest football stadium in the country. It was massive. It was just another level. Great atmosphere, decent game. I took him to a hockey game as well, which was good fun. The Griffins, there was a fight on the rink, as you expect in a good hockey game. And I took him to the range. I said I would show you my new...
Oh, I love your new rifle. Beauty.
Look at that.
So what? You're just... Oh, God, I need to move to America.
A 1895 Mauser. This is one of the Chilean ones.
I knew it was a Mauser.
Yeah, it's gorgeous, man. Love this thing. And it fires so beautifully, and it's very, very accurate.
What's the caliber?
Say again? Yeah.
7 mil.
Which is, why is that the only area that Americans use the metric system?
I don't know. Well, no, they do use the metric system because they use, they flip between them, don't they? Because they got 7.62, 5.56 NATO rounds. The metric system is something we should probably get into to really get everyone fascinated in this conversation. But so it's just a simple straight 7mm round. So that packs a punch.
It does. It's lovely. I love that thing.
That's gonna hurt that. And also, I'm so jealous of you because if I knew that I had one of them to protect me from life, just protect me. I wouldn't walk out on the street with it like some Yanks do. God bless them and thank you for doing so. I think I told you last week I was talking to Larry and I was like, why isn't there that much defense here at the church? Like police presence, and he went, everyone's armed. No one would get in 2 seconds. So, but just to protect myself, to have like a rifle, I'd love it. Yeah. Anyway, one of the other things the Americans do well. So yeah, you had a good week with Dennis. Are we allowed to say his name without doxing him?
We can say his name, yeah.
Say his name. Shouldn't we start an actual thing for him?
He came for a week last year. He came for 2 weeks this year. He said next year he wants to come for 3 weeks. So I think he likes it here in Michigan. Bless him.
Well, most importantly, he likes his son, which is the best thing. And how's the church going on?
Yeah, church is going well. We started a new service. So now we've got for people that are interested in West Michigan. On a Wednesday evening at 6 p.m., we have Evensong, which is a very traditional Anglican service. beautiful tradition out of England. On a Saturday at 5 p.m., we have the traditional Latin Mass. Again, very traditional, fantastic. And then on Sunday at 10 a.m., we've got our regular vernacular Mass, but it's also traditional. So for people that are looking for a church to attend, there you go, St. Paul's, Grand Rapids.
Hit it up. Hit up St. Paul's, Grand Rapids.
It was my 2-year anniversary to the priesthood as well this week, which is quite cool. Honestly, it feels like 20 years, not 2 years, but it's been an interesting couple of years to say the least.
It is funny, isn't it? And I was thinking to myself today, I was like, there were so many things I wanted to call you about personally this week because they were stressing me out. And I was like, this is going to take me forever to go through.
Go on then. So how are you?
So I may just go in public with all the people. Why not? Yeah, I'm good. I'm interested in the nature of things, but also in the nature of me. So in the olden days, right, when I used to live in the countryside, I used to get tired with the weather. So it would get dark in the winter and you'd go to bed earlier. And then it would stay lighter in the summer and you go to bed later. But now I find that I go to bed earlier in the summer and in the winter. So anything past 8 o'clock, I'm like, oh,
right, that's just old age.
What? I know. So then, wait, I'm hitting the crux of the story, Cal. Let me build it up for you, you moron.
Suspense is building. Come on.
So then the wood delivery arrives. The annual wood delivery, which is biannual now. And last year it was like, and you're using all the muscles you never use, crouching, stuff that you never use.
Yeah.
And you're using it for 4 or 5 hours to move, several tons of wood. And only today, a week later, has my body gone back to feeling okay. So I
always find that when I work out, pain is a good pain.
I think that working out is brilliant, and working out is actually one of the few times in a week where I get to really relax. I had lawyers chats today, so I was. I find even a 5-minute lawyers con, you can either chill or you can leave, babe. It's totally up to you. I speak to lawyers so much, and it's so draining. And so I'm in court on Friday, which is a pain.
Which case is that?
So unnecessary. It's the case of the Crown versus me for the Online Safety Act. Because, in England, we have an Online Safety Act, which means that we can use legislation to attack people that we don't like. But I also, at the same time, I feel, I need to send this on to Do Not Disturb because otherwise everyone starts popping through. I talked to Larry and I talked to you and I'm like, Larry says these most outrageous things. I'm like, you get in so much trouble to say that in the UK. And Lizzie sometimes says to me, she's like, you got to be smart by who you would talk to and what you say. And I'm like, but isn't that a prison in itself? To say I'm going to be smart. She's right on the be smart thing. I completely agree with her. But I don't agree with her on the, don't say things to prevent yourself from going to prison for words in the United Kingdom. And then this week, we've seen the BBC and we've seen the Telegraph's expose of the BBC, and I'm just like, we all fucking knew it. Sorry to be angry about it, but it's like everyone knew this. When we called it over vaccines, we called it over trans bollocks, we called it, name an issue, and the BBC went directly against public, the public opinion on this sort of stuff. And you just go, why is it taking so long for people to kind of catch up? And why does it take the mainstream media to go, oh, look, we're going to ban blokes from punching women in sports in the Olympics. Well done us, after a long campaign. And we were sitting there saying it 5 years ago. There should be a name or designation for us, to say the people that were just going, you can't do that. It's utter rubbish. What do you think? Have you watched any of this from America?
yeah, obviously, I was a campaign champion for defund the BBC for a long time. I think defunding the BBC is one of our priorities because it is the state propaganda machine. And it's weird to have like a state-sponsored broadcaster. It's very, very weird. And so, of course, they put out whatever propaganda the government tells them to in terms of, telling people to take vaccines or, promoting lockdowns as the good thing. That's harmful for a country when journalists should be questioning the decisions of government, not propagandizing them. But then this edit of Trump is just inexcusable. There's no reason they should ever edit a video of a foreign politician to make him sound bad. That's propaganda. But to what end? America's our strongest ally, for goodness sake. Why would they want to undermine that? Well, because they're leftists and they hate Trump. And they wanted to paint him in a bad light, and he didn't say anything bad enough, so they created it for themselves. That's wicked. And they've been found out, they've been found guilty, and a couple of them have had to resign, which is a good thing. But that doesn't change the system. It doesn't change all the liberal journos in there that are still hating on Trump and doing whatever they can to undermine him or anyone on the right of them. It's bad. It's a bad organization. But the worst thing for me is I was just thinking about it the other day. No free country forces you to have a license to watch your own television. That's weird. Why do you?
It's so mad, isn't it?
I bought my TV. I'm going to watch my TV. I'm going to watch whatever the heck I want on my TV. If there's a subscription-based service like Netflix or Amazon Prime, then I'll choose which one I want to subscribe to based on the content they produce and how woke or not it is. But I'm not going to pay the state for the privilege of watching my own TV. What? Why should I? It's absurd. And so, yes, people should cancel their TV license. I've got a video out there how to do it legally, but it's up to you. If you don't want to pay your license, don't pay your license. You shouldn't have to pay the state for the privilege of watching your own technology. And you certainly shouldn't have to pay for your own indoctrination and propaganda.
Yeah. That is a very strange... I've started to think about conspiracy theories in general. But the idea of the fact that, when they go, our NHS...
Yeah.
It's ours. And it kind of sinks in, doesn't it? It's like, it's ours. So you feel bad because you think of like doctors desperately saving someone whose life is fading away, and it's ours and we're doing it together. It's ours. And then you go, the NHS are intimidated by the St. George's flag. And I could pull up some quotes, but it's like,
Health bosses say St. George's flag is intimidating NHS workers. If the flag of our nation intimidates you, you shouldn't be in our nation. As simple as that. They don't call them NHS workers. These are clearly immigrants that he's talking about. If immigrants are afraid or intimidated or dislike our flag, they should not be in our country. It's very, very simple, really.
But why is it our flag?
Intimidated by the flag. It's a weird sentiment.
Why is it our flag more than any other flag, other than, I suppose, the Irish flag? I would say probably has the same stigma attached, and for others in other Eastern European countries, I'm sure there are similar stuff. But why is it that the NHS, that is basically Great Britain now, let's face it, bearing in mind the tax burden, what we pay for this shit house thing, and then you've got doctors in the NHS saying, I'm standing for Gaza, but openly, proudly standing for, Islamic Sharia law. You got Adil Ray, a prominent TV person, standing for Sharia law. And you're like, hang on a minute. You're meant to be a state. I hate state institutions regardless, but I hate them even more when they are deliberately working against every single thing that this country stands for. It's right. Like, it's just beyond. And you think to yourself, I'm becoming so suspicious now that I go, okay, so you all told me that Oswald Mosley was this terrible guy, with this Oswald Mosley person. Well, actually, if we're going to be really honest with each other, it wasn't Oswald Mosley who was the problem, because there aren't that many Nazis in Britain. They're hard to muster. We're kind of like softly spoken people. And but what there was there were a bunch of people lining up for when Churchill, and I always thought, why did Churchill lose that first election after the Second World War? Why? And it was because after a period of strong conservatism, they thought, right, now we're going to do socialism again. And Clement Attlee and that lot, and they brought in this socialized system. I know the BBC existed long before, but the BBC was twisted and turned into this thing which it talks directly against public opinion. And the National Health Service saying, I can't walk down the street and look after a white person. That's essentially what they're saying, because that's the subtext of what they're saying. The real text of what they're saying is like, oh, it's very intimidating being in an area with nationalism. And I'm like, yeah, it fucking is. Get your Ukraine flags out of the way and get your Palestine flags out of the way. It's very intimidating for us to be in that situation. But I want to see the BBC. I don't even want to I do want to defund them, but I don't want to see them destroyed. I want to see them out in the open marketplace. And today, my social media feed has been full of, just as Peter Hitchens said, left-wing people saying how brilliant the BBC is.
Like Ed Davey. It's a patriotic thing to do to support the NHS, support the BBC. The BBC hasn't been patriotic for a long time. It's one of the biggest organisations talking down our country. It's shameful, actually. They should be promoting our country across the world. This is why they were called a soft power. But they've kind of forgotten that influence, which is a shame.
But is it possible to passively promote your country by being impartial? So here's a question. Is impartiality such a high valued quality in thinking, like to teach someone the idea that impartiality exists, to be able to teach a young person, which I try and teach my kids?
It depends what you're talking about.
There's two sides to every story.
Scientific truths like biology, then yes. But if you're talking about nationhood, then no, we should be partial to our own nation. That's a good thing, actually.
Yeah. So we should be, you're saying we should be impartial to our own nation? No,
we should be partial. We should have a preference for our own nation over every other nation.
Yeah, we're not though. But it seems, so our friend Jeffrey runs an organization. I'm not going to go into it too much because, why should I? But Jeffrey has been going for, I think, 2 decades after the BBC for their lack of impartiality. Yeah. And he's been putting some of the money that the socialists are very greedy of into doing it. And he had a judicial review recently, judicial review, and they're like, no, everything's fine. And then the Telegraph, which our friend Jeffrey may or may not be, part of a consortium to buy, the Tory graph come out with this week on week, and they say, you've lied over Hamas, you've lied over trans, you've lied over Trump. And it's like, in what other world would people still be talking about our BBC? How wonderful it is, how amazing it is, because it's absolute bullshit. And I start to think to myself now, because I keep wanting to blame the boomers for this, but I start to think to myself now, actually, what's happening is the rebellion from beneath is coming up, and they can see it, is that we have decided we're not putting up with this anymore. As you quite rightly said, what is the point of a state-funded broadcaster? The BBC, Russia Today is banned in the United Kingdom. It's banned. Because it's terrible. Al Jazeera is not banned, but that is banned.
I've never liked RT. Never liked Al Jazeera.
I don't know whether you like it, though. It's about whether it's banned or not.
The BBC got in touch, was it 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, to interview me on something. Now, the BBC haven't interviewed me for a long time. People who work in our industry will know that the BBC has a list of people, and next to the names, they have the topics that that person is not an expert in, but familiar with or talks on. And so when a news topic comes up, they'll search that keyword, and then they'll look at the list of names. They'll go to the list of names and contact those people. So at one time, I was on the BBC quite often until I realised that I'm a flagrant far-right neo-Nazi priest. But recently they got in touch again for some reason. I don't know why. And they said, we'd like to get someone from the right to have share their opinion on this topic. And so I shared my opinion, and then they said, oh, never mind. I just thought it was hilarious. So I was someone on the right, and just go, no, not that opinion. It's so sad. So much for impartiality.
I really, really, really hope that I'm very disappointed in what's his face, the next king, William, because he's obviously off at Con 2030.
I know,
I think it's 30.
Misguided.
Yeah, but I think it's cool to be misguided. So I like young people being socialist. I love it. I enjoy it when it's like, yeah, but don't pollute the planet, make it a better place. I love that when young people say that. But he's not a young person. Exactly. So I think we're in for a really bad period for that stuff. Oh, goodness me. Anyway, I want to talk to you about other things. I want to talk to you about many, many, many things. First of all, I want to talk to you about Zara Sultana, just on the fun.
What's she done now?
On the fun vibes. Zara Sultana, who I call a foreigner, because she never seems to enter British Parliament and talk about Britain. And she just goes on about Gaza and Pakistan, and, that's what she does. So I say, you're a foreigner, go home.
Right.
She responded to me, with my usual great style. She responded to me with something along the lines of, I can't find the tweet, but she said something like, no wonder Billy Piper dumped your ass.
Yeah, I did see that.
Lol. Yeah. And I was like, you're an MP.
I know.
You're an MP. Babe. I mean, honestly, calling them babe, it works just as well as anything else, I suppose. But
the Pakistani Mohammedan, so she shouldn't be in our country in the first place.
That's what I think. Wait, can we break this down? Because I want to know if this is racist or not.
Okay.
Because I don't want to be. I don't want to have racist thoughts, and I don't think I do have them. So I just want to know: is it racist to say you don't identify with this country, therefore it would be better if you lived somewhere else? That's not racist, is it? It's like, go and live somewhere else. Go and live in one of the many, many failed Islamic states without oil, other than Iran, which is an anomaly in this situation. But in every single Islamic state which doesn't have oil is murder, child rape, and all of the things that we stand against, and Britain used to stand against, is there.
Right.
What is should we not have laws about having someone like Zara Sultana? Like, people send me foreigners, and British people send me like, she's from Birmingham. I'm like, no, she's not. She's a Pakistani. Not from Birmingham.
But it doesn't matter. There should be no Pakistani Mohammedans in our country. There should be no Mohammedans in our parliament. There should be illegal.
But is that racist then?
I don't know what is that.
Yeah, but is it? But okay, is it Christ-like? So if the dude from Samaria, who everyone hates, is crossing road, and is beaten up, everyone hated the dude from Samaria, as far as I understand, according to the Bible. What does one do?
They just walked past him, and the problem was that they should have stopped to help him because he was clearly in need. Sorry, go on.
No, you go on.
Okay, so yes, our job is to protect our loved ones, to protect our family, our community, our nation. And Pakistani Mohammedans are a threat to our nation, therefore they should not be allowed in. And people who say things like, "Oh, you can't be Christian and purport that we should have closed borders," well, why not? Like, there's nothing Christian about open borders. Heaven has a gate, heaven has a wall, heaven has a very strict entry criteria. Hell has open borders, right? That's biblical. So I don't understand the people who suggest that somehow we need to no longer care about ourselves and our people and our loved ones over the foreigner that wants to come and invade and harm us. And I'm not talking about genuine refugees who are in need, and we can find ways to help genuine refugees. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the invaders, and I'm talking about people who have an anti-Christ ideology. Mohammedanism is anti-Christ. It is they hate us, they hate our faith, they hate our Lord, and they want to take over. And they're showing this through their signs of dominance, with their bombs up in the air in the middle of the streets, outside cathedrals, or getting into Parliament on vote for Gaza or vote for Islam. We shouldn't have them in our country, and we certainly shouldn't have them in our politics.
Do you think you can
don't care?
Yeah, I don't care either, because I don't think it is racist. I think racist is discriminating against someone just because of a melanin issue,
right?
But what the left will do is they will merge that, because they're very good at doing that. Is they'll merge that into cultural practices. So they'll say, well, so what if they get married when they're 9 years old? It's a sincere commitment.
Yeah, child marriage should be illegal. It's horrible. It's horrific.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that's what they'll do.
Yeah.
And then they will call anyone who objects to it racist. So I find in my own self, I don't have anything in common with Zara Sultana other than our humanity. Right. So as a human being, I respect and honor her because she's a woman. Right. And she's a person, and I will honor her because God made her in her own image. But Shabina Mahmood is the same. I respect and honor, but I just go, you're not English. Like, on no fucking level whatsoever are you British. But then you get Lizzie, and Lizzie's brown, and then you get Theon, and you get you, and you get, the people that I work with all the time who are not white. And I go, well, I don't really give a shit whether you're white or not. I care about whether you're committed to the betterment of my country.
Cool.
So then what the left do is they go, okay, well, this is Christian nationalism. Bishop Kai Duar. He's
He's had a tough week, bless him. What he did was bring some people to Christ and baptize them, and he got attacked for it. Can you imagine that? In a Christian country, the media has been jumping down his neck, and he actually bent over backwards to say, look, we're multiculturalists, and this, that, and the other, like putting words out that I certainly wouldn't say. And he still got lambasted, which is, again, to prove the point, don't play their game. You cannot play their game because you cannot win at their game. I'm a Christian nationalist. I'm a Christian, and I want my nation to be Christian too. I see that as a good thing.
I wouldn't call myself a Christian nationalist. I would say I'm a nationalist, and that Christianity is absolutely dependent on the nationalism. So I wouldn't modify it in the same way as Ben Shapiro is very good when he talks about social justice. He goes, you don't need to modify justice. You just go, it's justice, right? Sure. So I'm a nationalist.
I don't agree for the most part, but when the modifier is Christian, I'm always happy to use that modifier. I'm a Christian nationalist. I'm a Christian first in all things.
Yeah, I think so too, and I think that's okay, right? Yeah. But also, I probably wouldn't be as I wouldn't be as sort of full on about going fucking get rid of. No, actually, I would now. I'm like, my kids are going to have to fight this shit. They're going to have to fight the Trocadero Mosque. Why are they building a mosque right next to where all the gays get laid by all those people you love so much? All the gays and the drug addicts and the drunks hang out. Why build a mosque right in the center of the biggest part of debauchery in the UK? It's a display of dominance. And I think, and I hope, is that the two people that have been, the two organizations that I can think of who have been shilling this bullshit for years is the UN and the BBC. And that's why I've seen my feed full of BBC left-wing people saying the BBC is so valid and Mike made a mistake over one 55-minute edit.
And again, it's not just one mistake. We saw what they did to Princess Diana. We've seen what they did to several people over the years, and we've seen the people that they supported and covered up.
Wait, slow down. Rewind. Princess Diana. What happened to Princess Diana?
The Bashir interview, where they lied and forged documents in order to get an interview with the princess of the land, for goodness sake, and then manipulated Martin Bashir, yeah, which was, it should not be allowed. That should be a travesty. That's a state scandal, for goodness sake, which could have brought down the monarchy. And that's bad. So they did that. And then but the people they attack are usually decent people. The people they cover up and help, like Jimmy Savile, are usually evil people. So what does it say about that institution?
Yeah.
It's an institutionally evil organization.
And also, if they felt like confidently strong about stuff, you would have thought they would thrive in the open market, right? A free market of ideas and news corporations, all that sort of stuff. You've seen what's happened in America, and it's going to happen here. You would have thought like the news agents and all that sort of stuff would have their very solid audience. Lewis Goodall could,
bless him.
And you and I think you and I were in a hotel room. I seem to remember. Please correct me if my memory
this sentence needs further context.
Okay. Calvin and I were in a hotel in DC when the inauguration happened. We were, I think, invited by the Heritage Foundation, were we? Can't remember. Anyway, someone invited us.
Kid Rock's hotel room, weren't we?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we were in Kid Rock's hotel room. But no, I'm talking about before that when, oh no, you weren't there when I sat down with Mateless and asked her why she was so grumpy.
Oh yeah, I didn't go to the Heritage event. Heritage, by the way, an organization that generally do good work, generally quite Christian and conservative. Kevin Roberts put out a very good video recently defending that, and then he buckled as if he got the call, and went all weak and feeble. Unfortunately, all these conservative organizations that back down under pressure of the Zionists is very disappointing. It was a shame to see that because I supported it.
Oh, stop now with your Zionist stuff, Calv.
I supported it.
I've got to deal with about 300 DMs a day going, what's happened?
I haven't spoken about Zionism in at least a fortnight.
Well, that's good.
About Israel in a while.
Yeah, well, we haven't mentioned it now until you brought it up. So let's keep it. We're
just talking about the Heritage Foundation. But go on. You were saying in DC, you were sat with them in England. No, because when I got to the hotel, that's right, not Kid Rock's hotel, the hotel that we were staying at. When I got there, Emily Maitlis and her crew were all there waiting, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to walk into this lobby surrounded by these far left, ignorant, so-called journos who are going to be looking to write something about us. Thankfully, I blanked them and managed to get past without speaking to them. But then when you went in, you went and said something to her, didn't you?
I did. I went and sat down and I went, you don't mind if I join you for the evening, do you? It was so much fun. Lewis, wait, I've got to do Lewis. Laurence, why are you so angry about everything? While looking away, going, why are you so angry about everything? And I'm like, well, you're lying to everyone. The BBC lying to everyone. It's really annoying. It's against public opinion. Yesterday, we had no food because we'd had the kids all weekend, so we were foodless in the house. So we went to a pub we never go to have lunch, right? And in that pub were like lefties, righties, liberal Democrats. Like it's a very, this area is, it's pretty right-wing, this area, but it's a mishmash. Mm-hmm. And they're terrified of Rachel Reeves's budget, like all of them. Like they're united in that. Yeah. And I heard them sort of and they're all British. So there's not a single foreigner. Sorry to be rude, foreigners, but there weren't any foreigners there. There were just English people there. Okay. And they were all sharing the same view. And it's the exact opposite view of the one that the BBC gives you. It's kind of strange. And, Lizzie's a very good, she always says to me, you have to pray for the people you hate and all feel like, she's always very chilled about that sort of stuff. This is an entire pub of people who are, what's that saying? Turn on reactions? No, I don't want to turn on reactions. Hand gestures. Thanks very much, new iPhone. Fuck off. It does do that. Oh, no, it doesn't do that. Not on Riverside. So there were a lot of people, and they were all saying the same thing politically. Their view was like, we're terrified about what's coming. And I was like, why don't you just not watch the BBC? Give it a try. Because if the BBC is that good, if all of these left-wing commentators are and political leaders are that committed to the BBC, surely it will be a massive success in the private sector, won't it?
Well, I think they've had an unprecedented number of people cancelling their their license to the BBC over the last few days because the website it didn't go down, but they took the cancellation thing off their website and put on, sorry, we'll be back soon or something like that. So they're making it as difficult as possible for people.
But look at, just quickly before we end the BBC bit, if you look at the BBC Twitter feed, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm just going to go on there now. BBC. No, I just typed NBC. Stupid thumbs. BBC. Okay, so if you go to BBC, they've got 51.5 million followers, right? Okay?
Yeah.
They put a story out. Let's be courteous to them. 2 hours ago, 210 likes.
Whoa.
51.6 million people follow this channel. So I don't believe it's real. I don't even believe it's real. Okay, so you scan down through it.
What is that, BBC News?
No, it's BBC News. And then if I go to BBC, just BBC, I mean, I'm sure there's
Wow, you're right. They're getting no engagement whatsoever.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? They've totally bought
the tweet on BBC News has 4 likes. They've got 15.3 million followers. That's weird. That's very weird.
It's non-real. So, okay, so you go down just a couple on
their followings have been inflated.
Okay, so on this one, BBC, all episodes just dropped with Davina McCall, the world's most nauseating woman. Sorry to, I mean, there are nauseating women in this world. All episodes just dropped. You asked, we all listened. All episodes of Stranded on Honeymoon Island are available now on iPlayer, blah, 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 blah. A brand new reality dating format. You would have thought this is kind of shit that people would consume. 62 likes.
That's astonishing.
It's like they bought their following. Back in the day when maybe it mattered.
Maybe liberal Twitter inflated them for
them. No, they bought their followers. You can't have 51 million followers. Ed Davies been wandering around.
Followers.
Yeah, you can. Of course you can. It's a government fucking organisation. No, it's a government organisation. You pay for your own. You just buy them your own.
I don't know what that means.
Well, okay. So how does an organisation with 51 million followers have 130 likes?
No, I agree. I think it's massively inflated. And I don't think they're real followers.
I will tweet something random.
I think liberal Twitter just inflated their numbers, or maybe just put people as subscribers. I don't know.
So I will tweet randomly something, if only there was some way of knowing about the American, guy with 666 on his head and MS-13, and that has 660 likes with 29,000 engagement, and it's not even the thing that I'm interested in or people will care about. Yeah. But you're getting. Okay, so this is like June Slater wrote about me and Lizzie because, Zara Sultana keeps talking about me being brown. Yeah. Not me being brown, her being brown. That's 3.5. It's like, it doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense to me. Anyway, I think the BBC's a fucking con. Now listen, Tommy, they let him up. He isn't a terrorist, which is good.
Yeah. Funny that, isn't it? Abuse of power, clearly. Love him or hate him, he's clearly not a terrorist. And to use a terrorist charge against him just because he won't give up the PIN code to his phone seems like an abuse of power because you shouldn't have to incriminate yourself. You have a right to privacy, and they should have used a law that was just and appropriate, and they overstepped the mark, and so of course he was found not guilty.
You happy about that?
Even in our two-tiered state? Yeah, of course. I mean, no journalist should have to give up their sources. That's something we've understood for a long time.
Do you think Britain should offer a Trump-style deport yourselves policy, seeing as one of the one in, one out, two of the one in, one out?
They keep coming back. The one in, one out is the same person. They send someone away and he comes back in a boat the next day. Yeah. It's stupid, isn't it? How stupid can you get? Like, why?
I know, it's always nice to be in the English Channel on a nice day. It's fun.
But the weather's changing now. It is snowy here, actually, in Michigan, in West Michigan.
No.
Why does the border force not protect the border? Why does the Royal Navy not protect the nation? Like, why are we letting people come into our country in rubber dinghies across the channel? It's suicidal.
It is suicidal. It's the one thing. Sorry, I'm banging out a shot to pick up my cat. It's the one thing that me and Lizzie don't agree on.
Oh,
she says we are getting our country back, and I say no, because the Mohammedan threat is so big that we're never getting it back.
Well, not never.
Well, I don't know.
In our lifetimes.
You don't think in our lifetimes?
No. Like, it took the Spanish 700 to 800 years. It may take us. We're still not. Like, British people are still not getting married and having babies and teaching them the faith. And this is their way to get the country back. So British people are not getting married, not having children, and aborting the babies that they do have. Like, a quarter of Generation Z has been killed before they've even been born. And so we're literally being outbred by the wild Mohammedans. So in what way are we getting it back?
Yeah, we're not.
People are putting up the flag, finally. I mean, yay!
No, the NHS flying the flag, very offensive, as we've discussed.
My dad was like, wow, the flag's everywhere out here, isn't it? I was like, yeah, these people care about their country. They love their country. And they're proud of it. They're patriotic.
Well, it's so interesting, identity. We took identity for granted because of our history.
Oh.
And actually, our identity is mired in many, many things. It's mired in our past, in our mistakes, in our future, and in our hopes. And it's mired in many, many things. But one of the things it is mired in is where you live and what the laws are in the place that you live. And it seems to me that if the BBC fall, which it should do, and when I say fall, I mean fall into the private sector. If it falls into private sector, that narrative of like, we're all going to die in a giant climactic hellhole is not going to last or land with anyone anymore. And that's going to be difficult for people to get their heads around, because I know a lot of people are very, very hoodwinked by the BBC, and I'm just like, God bless you, whatever. But, if the BBC and the UN, I was taught at school, I remember my history teacher, Ross Beckett, and he was obviously a conservative now that I look back on it. He taught us the League of Nations and how it came to pass. And he said it was doomed to fail because it was an ideological experiment rather than a practical one. Yeah. That the idea that people could come together, nations with totally different cultural and value structures, could come together and create a consensus over any issue.
Which they did. They compromised from the beginning. They didn't stick to the treaties they signed, and so once you don't stick to them, you can't expect the opposition to stick to them. So it was a flawed experiment.
But the irony is, what people can come to the consensus of is that we don't agree on all of this stuff. So what the BBC does is it goes, we're going to force a consensus on you. So you have to listen to us and believe us on what we think. Whereas what we're trying to say is like, no, it's like, it's not, you're not going to force me to believe that what I see with my own eyes and ears and what I witness with my own eyes and ears is ridiculous. It's not. It's just, you're lying to me. And I think people know that. The Tory graph have done it. And if it's not the end of the BBC, then my goodness, what will be? You know, out of all the stuff, you and me were defunding the BBC 5 years ago, 7 years ago. We were doing that, right?
Yeah.
So we're cursed with the crime of being right 5 years ahead.
The head of the curve, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm not sure what else we should discuss. Let me have a look on the list of things.
The UK government wrongly releasing criminals from prison. Repeatedly, accidentally, every time.
David Lammy is a fucking sub-IQ moron. He's a slow IQ moron. Sorry,
it says more about us than it does him. Like, we've elected this fellow to represent us.
No, Tottenham Hale has represented him to elect
the British people.
No, but again, you get into this very tricky thing about, is it British people that voted Zara Sultana in? No. It's foreigners that voted Zara Sultana in. David Lammy has a better case because he can say, I've been an MP for a long time. And, but the man is thick as fuck. Sorry to, I'm just saying it how it is.
Yeah.
He's not a smart guy. And he's the foreign secretary, literally, of the United Kingdom. Yeah. You imagine him sat opposite anyone with a brain. So bearing in mind that, you meet the US, I don't know what the equivalent is actually. So they've got what would the defense secretary?
Marco Rubio, or Pete Hegseth. I think his alternative would be Marco Rubio, I think.
You imagine those two sat down having a chat.
Rubio, like when we were kids, all of the politicians, whether we liked them or not, were all serious people, right? They had a degree of honor. Like if there was a scandal, they'd resign instantly. And they cared about the country. Maybe they were wrong about it, but they cared about it. Now it's completely the opposite. Like they're all stupid, like literally stupid. Like most of the front benchers are idiots. How have we gotten there so quickly?
I think because of feminism. So my major gripe in life is feminism. I think the idea that the equalization of women and men on a sort of superficial bullshit level is so bad for society. It's like women have unique, amazing skills that men can never fulfill, and men have similar. So when you stick Zara Sultana,
right?
I mean,
Angela Rayner,
it's like you're thick. You wouldn't if we all lived in a student house, and in the 70s. We wouldn't be listening to Zara Sultana. We'd be going, no, darling, we've got a problem, and the problem is economic, which is where men are so devious and manipulative and why you need women. Because after World War II, they went, let's get rid of Churchill and let's bring socialism into this country and let's do it by the National Health Service and let's make the ultra cash burden of the taxpayer to be on the National Health Service, which we can then use for political ends and say that we can't go and serve people who've got St. George's flags outside their door. Socialists are clever, and female socialists are clever too. And they're not stupid people. So I'm looking for a cohort of people in the country, and I know there is a big one, of people that would just go, you know what, we reject this, utterly reject this. And the BBC resignations show it, and we're going to see more of it. It's just like, oh, God. Oh, the Olympics have banned men from punching women. And everyone's like, oh, it's like, no, fucking hell, man.
It might take us so long to get here, but it's good that we are here, that the Olympics can say men cannot compete in women's sport, or biological males cannot compete in women's sport because science shows us they have an advantage. Like, yes, we knew this all along, but thank you for finally waking up.
Get that gun out and cock it.
Today is Remembrance Day.
Get out the gun first.
It's not
Show us the Mauser.
Today is Veterans Day, and I'm quite shocked. I think we should critique our own side, right? And obviously, I've been a supporter of President Trump for a lot of reasons. One thing I've been taken aback by is having what's the guy's name? The Al Qaeda guy from Syria who deposed Assad, the guy who's killing Christians in Syria.
Yeah.
In the White House, shaking hands with the President of the United States. Now, I am all for peace in the Middle East. I'm all for peace all across the world. And I do believe we need to sometimes compromise for peace. But then, on the other hand, we don't make peace with evil. And when people are literally killing Christians as we speak, and people are, we've got photos of this guy with heads in his severed heads in his hand. He is a literal terrorist. To have him in the White House shaking hands, there must be a long game at play. That's all I can think. That's all I can.
Ultimately, you're going to have to do deals with the enemy, always. But I would hope one of the deals was that your culture will not infect ours. And therefore, any deal I do with you means that you go further towards your position and we stay further in ours. I don't know what's going on in that administration when it comes to that. But I would say that Trump's not stupid. And,
right.
That the Islamic states that have oil and, are amenable to talking to the West, right? Those Islamic states are successful because
America has oil. Scotland has oil. We don't need to.
No. I get it, but take yourself back to Bush, George H.W. Is that the right one?
H. Yeah.
Take to H.W. You take yourself back to that idea. In the same way as the military do this, they change their tactics all the time. If you take yourself back to that idea, which is you kind of got to, you either kill them or you get on with them. A well-developed, strong economy, Islamic state will, with all the things that we loathe, will be much more amenable to Western democracy than some caveman Mohammedan shit that you'll get from Pakistan and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? So therefore, you've kind of got to, someone's got to open the door somewhere.
America needs to wake up to this issue because they need to look at what's happened to our country, how we lost our country to the Mohammedans and how most of Western Europe has been lost to the Mohammedans. Because right now in Dearborn, they've got the biggest mosque in the country and they're opening that soon. They've got more Mohammedans in Dearborn than the rest of the country combined. But it's not just here. It's not isolated. In Texas, the Muslim Brotherhood, again, another proscribed terrorist organization, is trying to open a Sharia city in Texas, of all places. Like, this is the Lone Star State, right? This is like the home of conservatism in this country. If they manage to take over a city in Texas, that's again another display of dominance. It's a sign we can take over anywhere. Thankfully, there's a guy, congressman down there, Chip Roy, who's fighting against.
I love Chip Roy.
Yeah. Texas is the number one state for the fastest growing amount of new Mohammedan mosques. Texas state government has allocated approximately $13 million in taxpayer funds to 18 Islamic organizations just in this year. Like, that's ridiculous.
I know, but if you think about it, it's pretty good because at the end of the day, you're going to have a church on one side of the road, and there are an awful lot of churches in America. You're going to have a church on one side of the road with rifles aimed at the mosque on the other side of the road.
Sure, they have their guns, which is a good defense, but still at the same time, they're going to get outbred, just as everyone else gets outbred. Like, you've got to stop the Mohammedan infiltration. You can't tolerate it. You cannot tolerate it.
Well, you've got to tolerate it because it's shits and gigs. You do. No, you just have to say Christian people and non-Christian people, you have to say make children, raise families because it's the best thing you can do.
You also have the Mohammedan ban. You say no immigrants from Mohammedan countries. We don't.
Yeah, I would completely ban the Trocadero Mosque shit. I would. Yeah, I would say it's got to go. That'll be me. Yeah. Right, pray us out, Calv.
Okay.
Do you like a good pray where like everyone's included, not just like one of your saints, not one of your saints or something?
No, today's St. Martin of Tours.
Oh God!
I know you like
this. What did he do? What did he do?
Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. O God, who seest that we are not able to stand in our own strength, mercifully grant that, through the prayers of Blessed Martin, thy confessor and bishop, we may be defended from all adversities, through Jesus Christ, thy Son, our Lord, who liveth and reigneth with thee in the unity of the Holy Spirit, ever one God, world without end. Amen.
Amen. Dear God, please can you... I'm doing a prayer. Excuse me.
Go.
Dear God, please give courage to the people of Britain to protect their homeland and not be ashamed of it. Amen.
Good prayer. Thank you.
Right. Suppose we're done then, aren't we?
All right. What's in the week ahead for you, Laurence?
Court Friday, which is very draining. I'm so tired, man. I don't want to admit it, but I am. I find it very tiring.
I'm not surprised to do.
Yeah, so I've got court on Friday. And yeah, then I'll come back here and do something normal, like mend something, which will cure me, purge me of the shit that you go through with these authorities, principalities. So yeah, that's me. Friday, pray for me on Friday, please. I've got to sit in a dock for a whole day, locked in the dock, and I'm not. I don't want to be, whatever the word is, grandiose about it, but it's not pleasant. No. And it happens to me a lot, and I'm kind of done with it, really. So that's me on Friday, yeah. And then the weekend will be our time together. So what we'll do is we'll do some good stuff, We'll do husband and wife stuff, which will be nice. And then we'll, go into another week. And that's what will happen. And then there'll be another hearing, and then another hearing, and another hearing, and another hearing. And they never stop. And it's very draining.
Well, I will be praying for you. I am going to West Virginia, which is not where the song is from, I found out.
Oh, heaven, West Virginia.
Is from the west of the state of Virginia, rather than the state of West Virginia.
We're in the Blue Ridge Mountains. Blue Ridge Mountains.
But I'll be speaking there
Shenandoah River. Life is old, they're older than
It's not my favorite rendition, I'll be honest. It's a good song.
Oh, come on. It's beautiful what I'm doing.
Last week, it was, by the way, the March for Life in Michigan, which was fantastic. In the state capital, in Lansing, there were loads of people there. A few people from my church went along, and one of the neighboring churches was there. And we walked a couple of miles around the state capital, and it was very peaceful. There were no counter-protesters and no trouble, just people standing up for the sanctity of life.
I think those that campaign for death are kind of yesterday's news, aren't they, really?
I hope so. Tide is turning.
Brother.
Thank you all for watching. God bless you, and we'll see you next week.
Buy the hat.
Diversity is not our strength. Unity is our greatest strength. Absolutely. And if you
it's
too
would like a
common sense crusade, church water pipe, you can get one from thecatholicpipecompany.com if you're in America, or from lotuseaters.com if you're in Great Britain. Cheerio.